Hi, Geminis. This is going to be my last reading for the day, probably. And it's interesting. I did the first two reads without my glasses, and this one I felt like my left eye was starting to hurt a little bit, so I put them on. As a kid, Gemini is the witness, the storyteller, Mercury, um, along with Virgo. Virgo season is coming up. Virgo's more of the details, and Gemini is more of like the breadth of things. And as a kid, I had amblyopia. I'm a Gemini sun. I had amblyopia, which means really that your brain is not really registering one of your eyes. So you have a weaker eye and a stronger eye. My right eye is essentially just has normal vision, but my left eye, I had to sort of like train it with patching and with glasses when I was a kid. And I do have I do have a planet in the 12th house, and so sometimes and a pretty important planet for sort of the rest of my chart, and so that can actually mean that you sometimes have trouble with the left eye to have planets in the 12th house, which is interesting. I don't love to, the glasses are okay, but with the masking, with the fact that I cover the top of my head, the glasses have just like been a lot, so sometimes I try to not wear them, and I can get away with that for a little while, but my left eye is, it'll get to the spot, it can see pretty well, but they'll maybe be a little bit off center of the right one. And so I thought it was interesting that for the witness reading here, Gemini, the mutable air, I felt like I needed to put on my glasses. I'm on that one. Gemini is the wind. And I'm sort of feeling like lack of wind with that one. Gemini, the wind, mutable air. As I sometimes say, as if the air isn't mutable enough. Gemini. Gemini, really interesting archetype. When Gemini season comes through, it's like there's so many different things going on, and it's true of every sign. Every sign has like so many aspects to it, but it really is like this breadth of experience, the Gemini placement. So in the present energy, Gemini, you are experiencing the 9 of Wands. The 9 of Wands, fire energy with Leo season about to end, is sort of feeling like a little bit overwhelmed by the journey, overwhelmed by the fact that there are obstacles and that there are barriers, needing to sort of stand up against that challenge in the upright, and in the reverse, feeling overwhelmed by that process of really kind of needing to continually stand up to challenges. It's just like there always seems to be a challenge, and just sort of feeling like tired by that in this moment. Challenge right now is the sun energy, the sun Leo season. Interesting for this to be the challenge because this is about joy, and just obviously joy and optimism and innocence and youthfulness and happiness. And so maybe feeling like you should be feeling this way, and if you're not really in this moment, then that is like a challenging energy, or maybe feeling challenged by the idea of the ego and of the persona. But maybe it would feel challenging to have the thought that happiness and joy and optimism is possible when you're sort of feeling like overwhelmed by fire a little bit, and then you get some more fire here with the sun, and it's like a sense of joy might be actually feeling like challenging, especially if you're not necessarily feeling that in this moment and you feel like you should be. So let's see, what else? In the recent past, the Star card, another major arcana card. Several major arcanas here, which I did not get a lot of in the past two readings I did for today. So something sort of majorly divine related is going on for you right now, not just sort of like the everyday of not just the everyday of experience, but sort of like a major divine moment. Like the divine is like looking at you and interacting with you right now in a larger way than maybe at other points. The Star card in reverse is about sort of feeling like a lack of, in the recent past, a lack of purpose, not necessarily fulfilling your life's destiny. This is the Aquarius card. So not feeling like rebellious and innovative, and like you are on your life's path and you've been like looking for your purpose. And so that energy maybe makes a little bit of sense with feeling now like feeling a little overwhelmed by the challenges of life, and like you maybe want to be more at this energy of knowing what your purpose is, knowing what your joy is. And so that's why this is feeling like a challenge if you're not necessarily feeling that fully in motion in the current energy. And in the near future, you have the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. Pentacle energy with Virgo season coming up maybe. But the Seven of Pentacles in reverse is sort of like wondering if the work that you have put into doing something has been worth it. And so that also makes sense because you're not sure if you've been living your purpose. You're feeling overwhelmed by it seems to be like the constant challenges. And this is like you planted seeds and you're looking at what you've grown in the upright, but in the reverse it can kind of be like, well, was it worth it to like have planted these particular seeds, to spend all this time, tilling the soil, and to have been working on this particular journey, not, really kind of like seeing if like not being sure that the exact journey that you took in this moment was like worth it for the pay, for kind of like what the payout, even spiritually, has been from that. In your conscious energy is the High Priestess card. Right now is the Scorpio moon, the water. This can be like a Cancer card, but really all of the water signs, maybe more of a feminine energy to the Taurus Hierophant card. This is about standing in your intuition, and the pomegranates in the background are sort of like a backdrop of like there are mysteries in life that we are not necessarily always going to know what that's about, the ineffability of the spiritual world, but really standing in your intuitive energy, being open to the fact that there is that mystery, and allowing yourself to stand in that with a sense of peace and a sense of control, and being okay with understanding that like you using the intuitive approach is sometimes just the best idea that you can do, the best that you can do in any moment, and accepting that there is just a mystery that you're not necessarily fully aware of, but you're standing within that mystery solidly. Your subconscious energy is the Eight of Swords in the reverse. So realizing that you're like not stuck in a situation. Maybe before that you thought you were stuck, and now you're realizing in like your deeper knowing and your deeper exploration of your truths that that you're not stuck in whatever it is that you're doing. So feeling like you weren't necessarily fulfilling your sense of purpose, feeling overwhelmed by that, not being sure if this was worth it, but like consciously you are standing in that energy of the mystery of what life is, regardless of whether or not, these seeds that you planted are the ones that you should have planted and the ones that you should have been, taking care of instead of the seeds over there. But standing in that intuitive energy and realizing that you're not stuck. And so that's what's really beautiful about this is like there seems to be a little bit of a feeling of stuckness and overwhelm, happiness feeling like a challenge if that's not what you're experiencing, but still consciously standing in that intuitive energy of being like, okay, this is what it is at this time, and subconsciously really as above down below, realizing that like you're not stuck, so like you can just sometimes ride in that intuitive energy and in that flow, and you're realizing that you're not stuck. So like this is like a conscious journey that you're going through. Your advice right now is the Two of Swords in the reverse. So having maybe difficulty making a decision, like there's like a way that you can go, another, blindfolded person here. So it's like there is like some mystery here that you are not fully aware of. Most of the mystery of our lives, we're not going to be fully aware of why or, what's going on. So you do your best to create your own whys and use that to forge your path. The Two of Swords in the reverse can be about like decisions, and that's similar to like the Lover's card about choices, which is the Gemini card, but like not being sure like which way to go about some sort of decision. Like maybe there are two things that you're thinking about between two people, between two ideas, between two career opportunities, two ways of thinking. And the advice for you right now is to allow yourself to stay in the acceptance that like you don't necessarily know what decision to choose right now. So maybe it's just a good time to continue to allow this intuitive energy to just go as it will. And the Two of Swords in the reverse is the advice to allow yourself to not know which way to go right now. To feel overwhelmed about the having to, maybe choose between two different decisions. And it's okay to like feel overwhelmed and not know which direction to head in. The energy surrounding you right now is the Magician card in the reverse. The Magician card can be the air, but it's really like the air as it interacts with all the rest of the signs. The Magician card is an interesting one. It's the first card. In the reverse, it can have to do with like really like a lack of energy, having trouble making your dreams become a reality, which makes sense with this Star card in the recent past, not necessarily feeling like you're fulfilling like your life's destiny and life's purpose. And the Magician card in the reverse, as the energy surrounding you, is like, yeah, you're having trouble making your dreams and your ideas into a reality, and you're feeling like a lack of energy from this process. You're feeling overwhelmed. You're not sure if some of this stuff was worth it. But this is a major arcana card, so whatever upright or reverse, whatever placement, some sort of like majorly divine reckoning is happening for you in this moment. It can also have to do with like manipulation sometimes, feeling like manipulated, or you're being manipulated, or you are being manipulating. But I think like really just like a feeling of a lack of energy because like you're having trouble making dreams become a reality in this moment. But the advice is to just like let yourself not be sure of which direction to go at this precise moment. A hope or a fear, I'd say this is maybe like a hope. So the Fool card, this can be Uranus, it can be air, it can be like the younger free-spirited signs, but this is about a hope about just wanting, it's like tied to the Joker card, the Zero card, the Fool. Just free-spiritedness. The hope and the desire to be free-spirited, to be the wind, to be the air, and to feel joy, to go on to explore new opportunities without thinking about things too much, without being too stuck in your head, which Gemini, Mercury signs can be, and it, that's a hope, especially with the sun, joy, innocence, optimism, going forward for a new opportunity with like a free-spirited air of not thinking too much. Like the sun is here behind the Fool as well, so like a challenge of like that sun energy, if that's not what you're experiencing in this moment, and like a hope that like you will take that sun energy and be able to go explore and express new ideas, and not necessarily new ideas, but you'll be able to have new experiences in a way that like just has you feeling like free and lighthearted and sort of young again. So that's like a hope. And in the outcome energy is the Knight of Swords, so moving forward with new ideas. So interesting that that's what I had said with the Fool. But Gemini, lots of ideas, communication, ways of thinking about things in a lot of different ways. The outcome is to be moving forward with the new ways of thinking, with how you're communicating, being divinely supported in exploring those new ideas. Maybe it'll bring you, closer to having a better sense of how to move forward, not necessarily feeling so overwhelmed in the meantime, and just allowing yourself to sit in this intuitive energy and realizing that you're really not stuck, and you can take this energy of new ideas to get to maybe more of this happy, free-spirited energy that you are wanting to tap into. So the outcome being, even if you're not necessarily sure that you've been on your life's path at the current moment, like maybe you needed to have that experience to realize that you need to explore new ideas with a sense of energy and inspiration. And so exploring those new ideas can maybe be the way to get into that next phase of the path. So first, dagger, fear, worries, and tense situations. So yeah, there's like anxiety and tension. Gemini, the nervous system, the arms, the shoulders. You can, feel a lot of tension in the shoulders. There can be some chaos to the Gemini sign, but fears, worries, and tense situations. So maybe just like you're feeling tense about feeling like you're not necessarily fulfilling your life's purpose, and like, was this path worth it? Was this where I'm supposed to go? And so yeah, you're feeling maybe some tension around that. A period of ill health and depression. So maybe that's why, the challenge of the sun. If the sun is feeling like a challenge, like this joy and optimism is feeling like the challenge because you're not necessarily there. Like maybe you feel like, a little depressed about whatever it is this situation is. And there is like a joy and a vibrancy to the Gemini sign, but there's also like a bit of depression in there as well. Just when there's so many options, it can sometimes feel hard to like know what's like the one thing to do in this moment, and that is just what the archetype is. It doesn't necessarily mean you're supposed to be what other people are, but just that exploration. So feeling a little like depressed about this journey, and that's why of course a sun card would feel like a challenge in this moment. A needle and thread, a sincere wish will be granted. So it looks like you're doing your due here. You're really getting in touch with that intuitive energy, realizing you're not stuck in that sword energy. It's okay right now in this moment to not know exactly like what to do, and you are as the outcome of this energy is like really standing in this inspired new way of communicating, which is that air energy of Gemini, as we're in the north node of Gemini. And so something that you want will you will get. Doesn't mean you'll get everything that you want, but like you haven't been feeling like you're able to make your dreams a reality. You're not necessarily standing in your life purpose. Like in that process, there is like a wish that will be granted through the processing of this or otherwise. I really wanted to pop out are creativity and movement, and then death and pain. So interesting that those came out different. And look at this. It's just Gemini. The colors can really be very like color blocking, like colors that seem like they're not supposed to go together. They just do with the Gemini sign. So just Gemini is like a splash of like kind of like sometimes just like random color. So I like that. So let's do creativity. So death and pain. So yeah, there's some stress here. There's fears, worries. There's depression. That looks like what's going on here. But first, what wanted to come out was movement and creativity. So movement. When this card comes up in a reading, it symbolizes that it could be time to take action and proceed on your journey or with your plans. Taking action can be scary or anxiety producing, but sometimes you need to stop thinking about things so much and just do them. This card means that the time is now and all signs say go. So air signs can definitely get caught up in their heads, especially Gemini, because they're processing so many things at once. And so Gemini really is like movement, and all signs say go. To stop, like you don't have to be like just thinking about every single little decision you make. It's important to be mature about what you're doing. Don't just act like brashly. Don't be in the low vibe of the Fool card, but this is the Fool card in the upright of exploring just new ideas. But now all signs say go. So if like you're having new ideas and like ways of communicating and wanting to express yourself, like tap into that energy. Don't get too stuck in your head about stuff all the time. We always need to be balancing our heart and our mind. Creativity, we all have the capacity to be creative and express ourselves. Don't shy away from engaging in creative acts and pursuits. When you're feeling inspired, it's important to embrace that magic, spark, and excitement and enjoy the creative process. So Leo season very much about the performer, being creative, being the person on stage. And so like really tapping into like your creative energy can help you move on to the next phase here. There's always like seems to be some advice for how to kind of like process difficult emotion in a reading. And here it's like move forward with your creativity. Move forward with creation. And sometimes even if you think like, oh, this is stupid because this isn't getting me money or not giving me something I need in a particular moment, sometimes just create to create. It doesn't even have to be like high quality. You don't have to be able to sell it. No one else has to like it. Just move forward with that creativity, and that can kind of like burst you into that next phase without having to think about stuff so hard. because sometimes we just can't. Sometimes you can't think your way out of it. You have to do your way out of it, feel your way, create your way out of it. Pain. Pain can feel like it's bigger than us, and it can come to us in many forms. It could be a physical, emotional, or psychological manifestation. Remember that after pain comes healing. How can you find healing and be gentle with yourself in this moment? And Gemini is absolutely the gentle sign. And right now, Chiron went into retrograde about a month ago, mid-July, staying there until about mid-December. This is a period of healing. So Chiron is the healer who couldn't heal themselves, but in this period, Chiron going retrograde, Chiron figures out how to heal themselves. And so we're all going through a very major healing cycle in a more obvious way than, everything can be a healing cycle. Every day is a healing cycle. But right now in this next 5-6 month period, that's particularly true. So how can you find healing and be gentle with yourself in this moment? So always remembering gentleness. Gentleness is important. It's not weakness. And I wish that we could understand that a little bit better. And that doesn't mean to, fall on your sword about things and be overly emotional and guilty and, it's not the best way to say it, but it's not a weakness. Gentleness is not a weakness. It is a deep strength, And when you are gentle, you feel pain about stuff. But then it's what are you going to do with that pain? How are you going to use that pain for yourself and for the people around you and for the universal collective energy? Death. The death card in a reading is not about literal death, but instead about a phase or cycle of your life that is dying out. Like the leaves falling from branches in the fall, this part of your life needs to die out to create space for new leaves to emerge in the spring. This can sometimes be difficult, and it's only natural to mourn if you feel like you need to. Just know that a whole new phase of your life is getting ready to begin. Yeah, so you're feeling like, you haven't been fulfilling your life's purpose necessarily and not sure if you've been putting work in the right directions. Death card is also the Scorpio card. Right now is the Scorpio moon, inner transformation, allowing things to end so that something new can come up, emerge so that you can emerge into the spring, the fire season, Leo season. Like the leaves falling from branches in the fall, the autumn, the air signs. Allow this new cycle to take place, and there's pain with the ending of any cycle, but allow that to happen so that you can get on to the next phase. And a way to deal with that, deal with the pain of it, and to just if you're feeling stuck, to just allow it to keep happening, is to move forward with this movement and this creativity. Moon card, please, for Gemini. Foot's falling asleep, the nervous system, Gemini. Moon card for Gemini, please. It's the first one I see. The moon cards have been having a little trouble coming out today, and just realized Scorpio moon, sort of like the hidden water. Your commitment is being tested. This also came up for the Aries reading, so I don't know if you might have Aries placements. And the moon is about to be a first quarter moon, or it's moving into it, or we're in that now, or soon, because we just had a new moon recently, last weekend. So your commitment to something is being tested. And I asked for another card for Aries too. And that one. Luck is on your side and a win-win outcome is forecast. Balance. So Sagittarius, Libra. Both of those cards are really about balancing. So maybe you're working to balance something in your life here. Both this movement and creativity, but also this pain and transformation, which is really that duality of Gemini. It's moving forward with passion, creativity, and this is sort of a cycle is ending. This feels painful. So that duality of expression. And so for some reason, your commitment is being tested to an idea, to a person, to a workspace. If you're realizing that something, just hasn't been worth it, and so, or wondering if something's been worth it, and so now you're wondering about your commitment to that thing. I love how that moon card shines. That's beautiful. And so luck is on your side in this, and a win-win outcome is forecast. So you have luck, and it's not, when somebody wins, it doesn't necessarily mean the other person has to lose. We have non-zero-sum relationships. That's the way that humans have been able to create these vast civilizations through a complexity of human experience between different individuals and cultures and time periods and things like that. And so in that non-zero sum relationship, more than one person can win. I'll have purpley energy here. Creativity. Moving forward with like your creative ideas, just like really bringing out that creativity can be really beautiful for you right now. And the moon in Scorpio, the water is about relationships and nurturance with flow, but also just like creativity. So I think that is the answer here, is to just like move forward with new inspired action around how you're expressing your creativity, and that can be how you deal with some of this energy. That might feel, stressful for now. So this is the one that just came out for Taurus. The reading before, Cosmic Heart with Leo season about to end. Cosmic Heart, I was dead, I became alive. I was tears, I became laughter. Duality of Gemini, the power of love arrived and made me everlasting power. I've seen everything, I have no fear. I've seen everything, Gemini the witness, I have no fear. I have the heart of a lion, Leo season, I shine like Venus. I hear it and weep. In sublime reverence, I bow to this living, beating, loving heart of the universe. It echoes throughout all of creation. Once, some time ago, I was deaf. I had not heard one true sound, much noise but no truth. So I believed in many things not worth believing in. Then in a moment of my crisis that cracked my heart open, I was given a gift. Though I felt fear and confusion, a gift came to me more powerful than those temporary ailments. That gift was the ability to hear the sound hidden beneath all of life, hidden, Scorpio moon. I heard it, that sacred sound of the beating heart of universal love. Now I know that belief in unworthy things like fear and doubt is lunacy, chaos of Gemini. Even my loneliness became unconvincing to me. And, Gemini is sort of like, I realized this past Gemini season, I think Gemini is like the island archetype, both the paradise and the isolation. We are animated by this living heartbeat, part of life that is sustained by it. You and I, the planets, the birds, and the fishes, emerge from the great source because of this beating heart of the universe. It pumps life through our veins. What proof of this is needed? You live. That is the proof. I hear it everywhere now. It has become so loud, louder than any word of fear. It resonates through my soul and eclipses any tremor of anxiety, and definitely some anxiety there with Gemini as the nervous system. So this oracle comes with special guidance for you. More love is rushing towards you like a great cosmic tsunami. You will, Gemini the storm, you will struggle with this blessing to the extent that you will attempt to hold on to what has been, so don't. Let go. Let it move you. You'll perhaps get some water up your nose, Scorpio moon, but nothing will come to you that you cannot handle. You'll be disheveled somewhat, undoubtedly, yet as you are washed up upon love's shining shore, keeping every hair in place, I see Gemini as the hair because each one is attached to a nerve plexus, will be the last thing on your mind. You'll be too caught up in the wonder of perfection, realizing how deeply loved you are and how unnecessary it is to contrive a way to live your purpose. You don't have to contrive a way to live your purpose. You are purpose in your existence. Instead, you'll have no idea what is going on. That can be a relief for Geminis for a minute. No ideas what's going on, and that's okay. You don't know which direction to go. You'll be surrendered in passionate embrace with life, simply being your exquisite, crazy, unique self, saturated with divine love. It will drip from you out of your feet, your eyes, your voice, your touch. You'll water the earth with love's oceanic presence. Oh, how that tsunami will deliver you into your divine destiny. No need for any contrivance. Let your hair get messed up. Your destiny awaits you now. So I think this is just, keep it moving. There's pain in here, but there's also movement and there is creativity, and the divine is real. And if you move forward with this creativity, even if you don't necessarily know the purpose of that creativity in any moment, then that's how you can kind of deal with this death and this pain of new transformation, the beautiful duality and just breadth, amazing breadth and comprehensiveness, even if not going super deep, as a Scorpio moon might, as the details of Virgo season, which is coming up, the other side of Mercury might, to just deal with this, beautiful broad dance that is who you are, and to remember that you are held in the divine cosmic heart. Okay, thanks for coming and watching the channel, Gemini.